Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine this truth: your outer world is nothing more than a mirror of your inner world. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every seed you plant within your subconscious is silently shaping the reality you wake up to. Tonight, as you listen, you will discover how effortlessly your life can transform when you allow change to begin from within. The subconscious mind is always awake. Even when your eyes are closed, even when your body is still, even when the conscious voice within you grows quiet and silent, the subconscious remains alert. It is the eternal witness, the silent architect, the unseen hand guiding your thoughts, your choices, your actions, and ultimately your reality. You may believe that sleep silences the mind, but in truth, only the conscious layer rests. Beneath that layer, the subconscious continues its ceaseless work, processing, recording, absorbing, and reshaping everything you are and everything you will become. Your conscious mind is like the surface of the ocean, rippling, restless, disturbed by winds and weather. But your subconscious is the deep, still current beneath it, moving always, flowing always, guiding the direction of the waves above. While the conscious mind is limited by focus, by effort, by time, the subconscious is unlimited. It does not sleep, it does not pause, it does not rest. It watches, it absorbs, it creates, it remembers. It is not bound by the ticking of hours. It is eternal, tireless, awake. When you drift into sleep, the conscious mind surrenders. The day's chatter fades, the reasoning voice falls quiet, the endless planning pauses. But this is when the subconscious becomes most receptive. Free from the interference of conscious resistance, it opens wide. It receives the messages of your environment, the vibrations of the sounds around you, the whispers of your own thoughts, the impressions of your emotions. In this way, every night becomes an act of programming. You are feeding the subconscious with something, whether you choose it deliberately or not. The television murmuring in the background, the music playing faintly, the affirmations spoken, the stories imagined, everything enters. For the subconscious does not close. The subconscious does not sleep. Even while your body is motionless, even while your conscious awareness floats into dreams, the subconscious continues to process every sensation. It listens to the rhythm of your breath. It regulates the beat of your heart. It repairs your tissues. It strengthens your immune system. It balances your hormones. It is the silent guardian of your physical being. Every night, without you directing it, it orchestrates countless processes within you. You do not command your heartbeat, the subconscious does. You do not decide to heal a wound, the subconscious does. You do not consciously regulate your sleep cycles, the subconscious does. While you rest, it never does. And beyond the body, it shapes the mind. Every memory you have ever held, every experience you have ever known, every lesson, every fear, every joy is stored in the subconscious. It is a library without end, keeping every word spoken to you, every feeling you have allowed, every belief repeated until it became part of you. The conscious mind may forget, but the subconscious never does. It carries your history not as facts, but as impressions, vibrations, and associations that shape how you respond to life. This is why you may sometimes act without knowing why, feel emotions without reason, or believe something without logic. The subconscious holds the keys, and it never sleeps, never stops shaping. To understand its power is to recognize that you are constantly influencing it. Even in your most unaware moments, you are feeding it suggestions. The billboard you glance at, the song that repeats in the background, the conversations you overhear, the inner voice that repeats the same worry. Everything enters. The subconscious does not choose what to accept. It accepts what is repeated, what is emotional, what is consistent. It is like fertile soil, ready to grow any seed planted within it, whether it is a seed of fear or a seed of faith. Because it never rests, the subconscious is always shaping your reality. While you sleep, it rehearses your patterns. If you go to bed in fear, it strengthens that fear. If you drift to sleep with words of peace, it nurtures that peace. If you feed it with affirmations of success, of love, of abundance, it begins to rewrite your identity around them. It does not question whether they are true or false. It only accepts, and in accepting, it makes them real. Think of dreams. They are not random, they are expressions of the subconscious. In dreams, your subconscious speaks to you in symbols, in metaphors, in images that reveal the deeper stories you are carrying. It is always awake, always speaking, always revealing itself. The conscious mind may not understand, but the subconscious knows. And long after you forget the dream, it continues to integrate its meaning into your life. The subconscious is like the heartbeat of your existence. It never begins and never ends. From birth, before you had words, before you had reasoning, the subconscious was active, absorbing, shaping your earliest experiences. As a child, when you had little defense, everything spoken to you, every belief modeled to you, every emotion you absorbed was written into your subconscious. That is why childhood leaves such powerful imprints. They are written into the part of the mind that never sleeps. And unless you deliberately rewrite them, they continue to guide your reality long into adulthood. Even when you are not paying attention, it is awake. When you walk down a street, it records the colors, the patterns, the sounds. When you speak, it notes the tone, the rhythm, the energy behind your words. When you feel, it remembers, and it builds associations so that future moments trigger the same responses. This is why the subconscious feels so powerful. It is always building pathways, always strengthening patterns, always awake. Because it is always awake, you have the ability to shape it at any time. You can feed it the stories you want it to write. You can choose the words you allow into your environment. You can place affirmations into your nightly routine. You can listen to positive messages while you sleep. You can saturate it with love, with healing, with abundance, with courage. It does not resist these things. It does not argue. It receives them. It shapes you according to them. The truth is that effort belongs to the conscious mind, but transformation belongs to the subconscious. You may struggle to change through conscious willpower, but the subconscious does not require struggle. It requires repetition, emotion, consistency. Because it is awake at all times, every moment is an opportunity to feed it something new. Every night is a chance to reprogram it. Every word you allow to reach it becomes a brick in the structure of your life. The subconscious is awake when you are anxious, recording every word you speak about your limitations. It is awake when you are joyful, magnifying the energy of your gratitude. It is awake when you speak to yourself, either lifting you or pulling you down, depending on the language you choose. That is why awareness is so important, because whether or not you intend it, the subconscious is recording. And so, life is shaped not by the rare moments of conscious decision, but by the constant whispers of the subconscious, awake always, alive always, creating always. Repetition becomes truth. The words you hear again and again, the thoughts you entertain over and over, the beliefs you return to each day, slowly sink into the subconscious until they no longer feel like suggestions. They become reality. They become the story you live by. What begins as an idea becomes a conviction. What begins as a whisper becomes a voice that shapes your life. Your subconscious mind does not argue with repetition. It does not measure what is right or wrong, what is good or bad, what is true or false. It accepts whatever is repeated long enough and deeply enough. A statement spoken once may pass by like a breeze, but a statement spoken 1,000 times, in thought or in words, enters the very structure of your being. The mind cannot help but accept what it meets again and again. This is the power of repetition. Think of the earliest words spoken to you. As a child, you were told things again and again. Some of those words were loving. Some told you were limiting. Some told you who you were. Some told you who you could never be. And because they were repeated, they became truths within you. You did not question them. You accepted them. You lived by them. Repetition gave them power. Repetition gave them reality. The same is true now. Each time you repeat a thought, each time you replay a memory, each time you affirm something about yourself or your life, you are deepening it within you. You are giving it roots. The mind is like soil, and repetition is the water that keeps the seed alive. Whether the seed is of doubt or of confidence, repetition nourishes it. Repetition strengthens it. Repetition makes it grow until it becomes the dominant plant in the garden of your mind. Repetition is the language of the subconscious. It does not learn through sudden bursts of willpower. It learns through rhythm, through consistency, through patterns. Just as a path becomes clearer the more you walk it, a thought becomes stronger the more you repeat it. And soon the thought no longer feels like something you chose, it feels like something that simply is. This is why affirmations carry power. Spoken once, they are fragile. Spoken daily, they become solid. Spoken with emotion, they become identity. The mind does not resist repetition, it leans into it. And when words are paired with feeling, the subconscious engraves them deeper still. The heart gives energy to the word, and the word takes root. Over time, it becomes unquestionable truth. Repetition is how habits are born. No one wakes up with a habit fully formed. A habit is simply a thought, an action, a response, repeated until it becomes natural, automatic, effortless. At first, it may feel foreign. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. But the power of repetition makes it familiar. The unfamiliar becomes the known becomes the safe, and the safe becomes the truth. This is why the stories you tell yourself matter. Each time you say, I can't, you are engraving limitation. Each time you say, I can, you are engraving possibility. Each time you repeat, I am not enough, the subconscious nods and accepts it. Each time you repeat, I am more than enough, the subconscious nods and accepts it. It does not argue. It does not resist. It listens. And what is repeated most often becomes the framework of your reality. The conscious mind may reject, may analyze, may resist, but the subconscious simply absorbs. That is why repetition bypasses the conscious gatekeeper. When something is heard or spoken once, the conscious mind may push it aside. But when it returns again and again, the resistance weakens, the defenses drop. The message slips in deeper each time until it no longer encounters resistance at all. This is the quiet power of repetition. It turns suggestion into truth. Repetition is all around you. The media you consume, the voices you hear, the environments you surround yourself with, are shaping you every day. The repeated messages of society, culture, advertising, and conversation slowly program the subconscious without you realizing it. This is why awareness is essential. For if you do not choose your repetitions, the world will choose them for you. If repetition creates truth, then you hold the key to creating new truths. You can take the words you wish to live by and let them echo in your mind daily. You can take the vision of yourself you wish to embody and replay it again and again until it becomes more real than the past you once carried. You can speak love to yourself until love feels natural. You can speak abundance until abundance feels inevitable. You can speak strength until strength feels like your identity. Every great achievement in history was born of repetition. Musicians repeat their scales, writers repeat their practice, athletes repeat their movements. Through repetition, the impossible becomes natural. Through repetition, the unknown becomes known. Through repetition, excellence becomes truth. And the same law applies not only to skills but to beliefs, to mindsets, to identities. Repetition is the bridge between imagination and reality. Imagine a sculptor shaping stone. Each strike of the chisel is small. Each strike alone seems insignificant, but repeated again and again, the stone transforms. It takes shape. It reveals beauty. Repetition is the chisel of the mind. Each affirmation, each thought, each belief repeated strikes at the stone of the subconscious. Alone, it may seem small, but over time, it sculpts a new identity, a new truth, a new reality. Repetition works quietly, invisibly. You may not see the change immediately. You may not feel the truth forming, but beneath the surface, the subconscious is listening, recording, strengthening. Just as drops of water carve canyons over time, repeated thoughts carve pathways in the brain. Neural connections strengthen with each repetition, making the thought easier, faster, more natural. The mind becomes wired to accept what it has heard most often. This is why negative repetition is so dangerous. A single negative thought may pass, but repeated daily, it becomes identity. If you hear again and again that you are limited, you begin to embody limitation. If you tell yourself repeatedly that you are unworthy, unworthiness becomes your truth. Yet the same law makes positive repetition powerful. For just as the negative becomes truth, so too does the positive. Repeated love becomes truth. Repeated gratitude becomes truth. Repeated faith becomes truth. The subconscious does not know the difference. It only knows rhythm, pattern, repetition. It is like a mirror that reflects back whatever is shown to it often enough. If you show it doubt, it reflects doubt. If you show it courage, it reflects courage. If you show it fear, it reflects fear. If you show it possibility, it reflects possibility. Whatever is repeated becomes the reality you live. You are living today in the truths you repeated yesterday, and tomorrow you will live in the truths you repeat today. The cycle is endless, the law unchanging. Repetition builds reality. Repetition creates destiny. Repetition is the language of transformation. When you understand this, you realize that your words are not casual. Your thoughts are not small. They are seeds, and every time you repeat them, you water them. They grow whether you intend them to or not. The only question is whether you are watering weeds or flowers, fear or love, limitation or possibility. Repetition becomes truth, matic, and when you choose your repetitions, you choose your truth. Sleep is effortless reprogramming. Each night, when you surrender to the rhythm of rest, you are not only restoring your body, but reshaping your mind. Sleep is more than the closing of the eyes. It is the opening of the subconscious. It is the soft unraveling of resistance, the dissolving of conscious barriers, and the welcoming of new instructions into the deepest part of your being. In this state, transformation happens without struggle. Change unfolds without effort. What you feed your mind in sleep becomes the blueprint of your tomorrow. When you drift into sleep, your conscious mind begins to quiet. The endless analyzing, the constant worrying, the ceaseless questioning fades into the background. That gatekeeper, the conscious voice that often doubts, resists, and argues, steps aside. And in its place, the subconscious mind takes the stage. It listens, it absorbs, it accepts, it does not debate, it does not question. It only receives. This is why sleep is such a powerful state for reprogramming. The words you hear, the emotions you feel, the vibrations you allow during sleep enter directly into the fertile soil of the subconscious. You do not need to try. You do not need to force. You do not need to struggle to change. The beauty of sleep is that transformation becomes effortless. Just as the body heals wounds and restores strength without your conscious direction, the subconscious reshapes your beliefs and patterns without effort on your part. The same intelligence that beats your heart and breathes your lungs while you rest also rewires your mind in the silence of the night. Sleep is the great healer, not only of the body but of the spirit and the mind. Imagine the subconscious as a recording device that never shuts off. During the day, the conscious mind filters what gets through, but during sleep the filter softens. Messages slip in easily. If you choose what you listen to, what you surround yourself with, what vibrations you allow into your night, then your sleep becomes a sacred classroom. Affirmations whispered into the night become truths by morning. Peaceful words heard in stillness become calm in waking life. Visions of success spoken in sleep become the identity you live when the sun rises. Every night you are already being reprogrammed. The question is not whether it happens, but how. If you fall asleep to fear, the subconscious absorbs fear. If you fall asleep to worry, the subconscious magnifies worry. If you fall asleep to doubt, the subconscious deepens doubt. But if you fall asleep to faith, the subconscious strengthens faith. If you fall asleep to love, it nourishes love. If you fall asleep to abundance, it awakens abundance. Sleep is always reprogramming. The power lies in choosing what you give it to work with. Think of how easily a song gets stuck in your head when you fall asleep listening to it. The melody repeats in your mind the next day. The subconscious has captured it. The same is true for words, beliefs, and affirmations. Repetition while you sleep engraves itself deeper than repetition while awake. The conscious mind, when awake, sometimes resists new ideas. But in sleep, resistance disappears. The subconscious accepts without question, as though every word is a seed planted in the dark, waiting to bloom when the morning comes. Sleep is effortless reprogramming because it aligns with nature's rhythm. Nothing in nature struggles to grow. Seeds do not force themselves to sprout. Rivers do not struggle to flow. The sun does not force itself to rise. Growth, renewal, creation, all happen with ease when the conditions are right, and sleep is the condition in which your mind grows new truths most easily. You do not have to think harder. You do not have to work harder. You only have to surrender and allow. Consider the way dreams unfold. They bypass logic. They bypass control. They reveal truths, emotions, and patterns you may not recognize in waking life. Dreams are the subconscious expressing itself freely. They show how active the mind is while the body rests. If dreams can influence your emotions so deeply, imagine how deeply repeated words, repeated affirmations, repeated visions can settle into your being while you sleep. The subconscious never sleeps, and it is during your deepest rest that it does its deepest work. When you drift into the stillness of night with words of love, success, peace, and strength flowing into your ears, you are building a new internal structure. Each night becomes a rehearsal for the life you want to live. You are programming your subconscious not through struggle, not through force, but through gentle repetition. And because the subconscious accepts without argument, the change feels natural. You awaken with new beliefs not because you forced them, but because you allowed them. Sleep is effortless reprogramming because it works beneath awareness. Just as your body repairs itself without your conscious command, your mind rewrites itself without your conscious struggle. The immune system strengthens, the muscles restore, the cells renew, all without your instruction. In the same way, the subconscious absorbs, integrates, and transforms without your conscious effort. All you need to do is create the right environment, words of power, vibrations of peace, affirmations of truth, and then rest. The rest itself carries the work forward. Imagine lying down at night, letting your body sink into stillness, and surrounding yourself with messages of abundance. While you sleep, the subconscious hears them again and again, uninterrupted. By morning, those words feel familiar. They feel natural. They begin to echo in your waking thoughts, guiding your choices, shaping your actions. What once felt distant now feels within reach. What once felt forced now feels effortless. This is the silent miracle of sleep. It shifts your inner world while you are unaware, and your outer world begins to match it. The conscious mind often believes that change must be hard. It believes that growth requires struggle. It believes that transformation demands constant effort. But sleep reveals another path. Sleep shows that change can happen gently, naturally, silently. Sleep shows that reprogramming can happen without exhaustion. It shows that you can wake up renewed not only in body but in belief. This is why listening while sleeping is so powerful. Words bypass the conscious barriers and flow directly into the subconscious. No arguments, no resistance, no doubts blocking the way, just pure acceptance. And what is accepted repeatedly becomes identity. Sleep turns affirmations into truths. It turns suggestions into beliefs. It turns possibility into reality. Every night, you step into this state. Every night, you are given the opportunity to renew not just your body but your mind. Every night, you can let go of the old and plant the new. Every night, you can release the weight of the day and allow the subconscious to build a brighter tomorrow. Sleep is not wasted time. Sleep is sacred creation. Sleep is the effortless reprogramming of your life. Seeds of thought create reality. Every thought you think is a seed. Every belief you hold is a seed. Every story you repeat within your mind is a seed. And just as seeds planted in the earth grow into trees, flowers, or weeds depending on their nature, so too do the seeds of thought grow into the experiences of your life. What you dwell on expands. What you repeat takes root. What you nurture with attention blossoms in the world around you. Imagine your mind as a vast and fertile garden. Each moment of focus, each repeated thought, each belief you hold is like dropping a seed into that soil. The soil does not decide which seeds to accept. It does not refuse a weed and only nurture a rose. It allows all seeds to grow. The subconscious works the same way. It does not argue. It does not reject. It does not question whether the thought is worthy or unworthy. It simply takes the thought, waters it with emotion, nourishes it with repetition, and allows it to grow until it becomes part of your reality. When you think thoughts of love, those thoughts are seeds. They grow into feelings of compassion, into acts of kindness, into experiences of connection. When you think thoughts of fear, those thoughts are also seeds. They grow into anxiety, into hesitation, into experiences that reflect limitation. The soil does not distinguish, it grows whatever you plant. The law is simple, eternal, and unchanging. Seeds of thought create reality. This is why awareness is powerful. For so much of the time, you are planting without realizing it. The inner dialogue that repeats through the day, the quiet self-talk that whispers in your mind, the words you accept from others are all seeds. If repeated often enough, they take root, and once rooted, they grow into your beliefs, your identity, your behavior, and your reality. Every moment, consciously or unconsciously, you are planting. Think of someone who tells themselves daily, "I am unlucky. Things never work for me." Each time they think it, they plant another seed. Each time they repeat it, they water it. Soon, the garden of their mind is filled with weeds of limitation. And as those weeds grow strong, they begin to see the world through them. Even opportunities that arrive appear tainted by doubt. The seed has become a plant, and the plant has overtaken the garden. Now think of someone who tells themselves daily, "I am capable. Life supports me. Good things are on their way." Each repetition plants seeds of strength, of hope, of abundance. With time, those seeds sprout. They shift perception. They change behavior. They attract experiences that mirror the belief. The garden fills with flowers and life begins to look different. The same law, the same soil, but different seeds. The beauty of this truth is that you are not powerless. You may have planted weeds in the past, but new seeds can always be planted. You can choose what to dwell upon. You can choose the story you repeat. You can choose the inner dialogue you nurture. And the more you choose deliberately, the more your garden shifts. The soil does not remember yesterday. It only grows what you give it. Every great creation began as a seed of thought. Every invention, every achievement, every masterpiece was once only an idea in the mind of someone willing to nurture it. The thought repeated became belief. The belief inspired action. The action created reality. Without the seed of thought, nothing would have come into being. With the seed of thought, everything became possible. This is why imagination holds such power. To imagine is to plant. To visualize is to sow. To dwell on a possibility is to nurture its growth. The mind does not wait for proof before it begins to grow a seed. It begins as soon as the thought is planted. Whether you imagine success or failure, the mind nurtures it equally. Whether you imagine abundance or scarcity, the subconscious accepts both and begins shaping your reality accordingly. Consider how a single worry can spiral into a full experience. You think it once, then again and again, until it becomes heavy, until it colors the way you see the day. That is the seed at work. But consider also how a single dream can inspire courage. You think it once, then again, until it feels real, until you act upon it, until it shapes your future. The same law, the same soil, different seeds. The subconscious is always awake, always listening, always receiving. This means it is always planting, always watering, always growing. Even while you sleep, the seeds continue to sprout. Even when you are unaware, the seeds continue to develop. That is why sleep itself becomes a time of reprogramming. It is the garden working quietly in the dark, turning seeds into roots, and roots into growth. You are the gardener. You may not always have realized it, but every day you are planting. Every word you speak to yourself, every thought you allow to repeat, every belief you choose to hold is a seed falling into the fertile ground of your subconscious. If you do not choose, the world will choose for you. Others will plant seeds in your mind. Voices of doubt, criticism, and fear will become weeds if allowed to repeat. But when you take responsibility, when you plant deliberately, when you nurture with care, your inner garden becomes the reflection of your highest vision. Seeds do not grow overnight. They require patience, consistency, and trust. The same is true for thoughts. A new affirmation, a new belief, a new vision may not immediately transform your reality, but with repetition, it takes root. With emotion, it strengthens. With trust, it grows. And just as a seed beneath the soil grows unseen before it breaks through the surface, so too do your thoughts grow quietly before you see their evidence in the outer world. Change begins invisibly within, and only later reveals itself without. Every moment is an opportunity to plant. Each morning you rise, you can plant gratitude. Each evening you rest, you can plant peace. Each challenge you face, you can plant courage. Each victory you celebrate, you can plant faith. And with time, those seeds shape the landscape of your life. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of the inner garden you have cultivated. Seeds of thought create reality. If you want a life filled with joy, plant thoughts of joy. If you want a life filled with abundance, plant thoughts of abundance. If you want a life filled with love, plant thoughts of love. The law does not fail. The soil does not argue. The subconscious does not resist. It only grows what it is given. The truth is simple yet profound. Every thought matters. Every repetition matters. Every belief matters. For each one is a seed. And seeds, once planted, will grow. Change comes from within. All transformation, all renewal, all growth begins in the unseen chambers of the inner world. The outer life you experience is nothing more than a reflection of what you carry inside. The world mirrors the beliefs you hold, the stories you tell yourself, the emotions you nurture, and the vibration you sustain. If you wish to shift the circumstances of your life, you must first look within, because it is here, in the quiet depths of the inner self, that true change is born. You may search for answers outside of yourself, believing that if the world alters, if people behave differently, if conditions improve, then your life will align with your desires. Yet every lasting shift begins in the mind, in the heart, in the soul. When the inner structure transforms, the outer environment reorganizes itself to match. When perception changes, reality changes. When belief shifts, experiences shift. The cause is always within, and the effect always flows outward. The subconscious mind holds the blueprint of your reality. It carries patterns formed through years of repetition, memories, and impressions. If those patterns remain the same, your life remains the same. You may attempt to change behavior, change location, change relationships, but unless the internal design is altered, the outer result eventually returns to its original state. The same inner patterns recreate the same outer life, but when those inner patterns are rewritten, the outer life naturally and effortlessly takes new shape. This is why self-awareness is so powerful. When you observe your own thoughts, you begin to see the hidden script directing your choices. When you become conscious of your own feelings, you begin to notice the energy you carry into every experience. When you watch your own reactions, you begin to uncover the beliefs that drive them. And in this awareness, you hold the key to change. For you cannot shift what you do not see. You cannot transform what you are not aware of. Awareness turns the unconscious into the conscious, giving you the power to choose anew. Change from within does not require force. It requires alignment. It requires nurturing new seeds of thought, repeating new stories, breathing new emotion into the self. When the inner world begins to shift, the outer world has no choice but to follow. For reality is not separate from you. It is an extension of you. It bends to meet the frequency you sustain within. Consider a person filled with doubt. No matter where they go, no matter what opportunities they encounter, they carry doubt with them. They may step into a room full of possibility, yet their doubt filters what they see. They interpret gestures through suspicion. They hesitate when boldness is required. They retreat when courage would open doors. Their outer experience reflects the doubt within. Now consider a person filled with faith. They walk into the same room, yet see opportunity where others see obstacles. They interpret gestures with openness. They act with confidence. They trust themselves in the moment. Their faith transforms the experience. Both people stood in the same world, but their inner reality created two different outcomes. The world does not create your state creates your world. This is why change cannot be demanded from the outside. True transformation happens when you turn inward, when you decide to cultivate peace within, when you choose to hold gratitude regardless of conditions, when you decide to nurture courage in the face of challenge. The inner choice reshapes the outer reality. Every emotion is energy. Fear is energy. Joy is energy. Hope is energy. Despair is energy. When you dwell in an emotion, you broadcast it into your life. Experiences arrive that match the frequency you carry. You attract people who resonate with it. You notice opportunities aligned with it. The outer world reflects the inner signal. If you wish for a new reality, you must shift the signal you send. That shift begins within. Change from within is not always immediate in appearance, but it is always immediate in effect. The moment you decide to let go of a limiting belief, the inner landscape rearranges. The moment you choose to forgive, the heart lightens. The moment you plant a new thought of possibility, the mind opens. These inner changes may not reveal their outer evidence right away, but like seeds beneath the soil, they are already at work, already sprouting, already pushing toward the surface. With time, the outer world displays the proof of what was changed within. This is why so many who chase only outer changes feel temporary relief. They change a job but carry the same beliefs into the new position. They change a relationship, but bring the same patterns into the next one. They change a location, but bring the same mindset to the new environment. The scenery shifts, but the experience remains familiar, because the inner world was never transformed. True liberation, true renewal, true growth comes only when the root within is addressed. When the internal blueprint is rewritten. Change from within requires honesty. It asks you to look at yourself without judgment, to see the thoughts you've repeated, the stories you've believed, the emotions you've nurtured, and to ask whether they serve the life you wish to live. It requires patience, because the patterns formed over years may not dissolve in a single day, but with consistent attention, they loosen, they weaken, and they are replaced by new patterns of strength. It requires compassion, because change is not about harshness, but about gentle persistence, about nurturing yourself the way a gardener nurtures delicate shoots until they grow strong. When you begin to change from within, life begins to mirror the transformation. Suddenly, the same environment feels different. Conversations shift, relationships evolve, opportunities appear, not because the outer world decided to change randomly, but because your perception, your beliefs, your frequency invited new experiences. Life was always waiting to meet you at the level of your inner truth. Think of the journey of water. A river does not push against its banks with force. It flows naturally from its source, shaping everything in its path with quiet persistence. In the same way, change from within is a flow. You do not need to struggle against the world. You only need to align with your inner source. When you carry peace within, peace flows outward. When you carry abundance within, abundance flows outward. When you carry love within, love flows outward. The world reflects the inner current. Every moment of your life is an opportunity to begin anew. Each breath is a chance to shift inwardly, to choose a new thought, to release an old belief, to carry a new emotion. No external circumstance can stop you from this inner choice. And as you repeat these inner shifts, the outer world slowly yet surely reflects them. Change comes from within. It always has, it always will.